Hey, what is up everyone? With Season 8 coming to a close and Season 9 starting this week, I think it's time for us to take a look back at the entire season and just give you my thoughts on everything we got with Season 8 of Sea of Thieves. So as a little refresher, with Season 8 we got, the normal stuff, new Plunder Pass, new Free Pass, those kind of things, Twitch drops, all that kind of stuff. But the big thing was the on-demand PvP system, as well as the new factions and the faction hideouts and stuff that are related to the factions. So let's just jump right into it. The PvP stuff I think is really great, but it could use some improvements. So what I really love about this is anytime you want, you can just go on your ship and decide to go for a battle. And these battles are kind of low stakes in the sense that if you lose it, you're not like losing gold or anything. You're just kind of losing your ship and then you're going to respawn somewhere else. And if you have that streak that's going on, then, you lose a little bit more. Typically, I decide to just kind of excel either after every battle or every other battle, something like that. I really like with the PvP system that they created like a new leveling system with the allegiance. So the allegiance is similar to how the trading companies level up, but this is for the factions. I like that no match is a waste, because even if you lose a match, you still get a little bit of allegiance, so you're always progressing towards that eventual goal. And the rewards we got for these factions are pretty nice. We got a bunch of new curses. I think the skeleton curse is really cool, as well as all the cosmetics for it. You get the new faction hideouts, which are really cool. The Athena's Fortunes expansion is, okay. I don't think it's as cool as the Reaper's hideout. I think the Reaper's hideout is really cool, but I would also say that the Athena's Fortune ceremony thing to get the curse is a lot better than the Reaper's version. Speaking of those, I think that's a really cool thing that feels very unique and very rewarding to get. I wish they did something like that for getting Pirate Legend, because I feel like getting Pirate Legend is not that special of a moment. It's kind of just like you go up to the person and they're like, oh, here's a little shanty for you to play. But this is like a very cinematic event, and I really like that. Let's get into my problems with the PvP system. So while I do really like that the PvP system's on demand, you can do whatever you want, and I'm not going to talk about how it was at the beginning, I'm going to talk about how it is now. Because at the beginning it was hard to get in some games, like the wait times were a bit off and that kind of stuff. There were just different issues with it, but a lot of those issues got fixed throughout the season pretty quickly, honestly. My problems come down to mainly with time. So I've said this before in past videos, but I feel like they really need to put a time cap on these PvP battles. Something I would like to see more with Sea of Thieves is more predictable game time. So we've had stuff like the sea forts, which you can kind of predict are going to be like a 15-minute adventure, which you can pretty much predict is going to be like about 15 minutes of excursion, and that's very predictable and you can understand how to do that. Same with the Siren Treasuries and the world events to an extent. The world events are going to take a lot longer, but you can predict how long it's going to be. What I would like to see is the PvP on demand stuff be more predictable. I liked when we had the arena before. The arena was, can't remember honestly, I think it was 16 minutes or around like that. Maybe it was closer to 20 minutes, but it was a set amount of time, meaning you could just either stop playing or you could play another round, but you knew how long it was going to be. My problem with the PvP system is I get into the game and I maybe have an hour to play. So I'll play one battle, maybe that lasts only 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, cool, I can play another one. But then this next round lasts an hour and a half, but you need to go or something. So your only real choice is that you have to basically sacrifice yourself and just let your opponent get the win. And then you lose all your rewards because of the shrieks and that kind of stuff, unless you're selling every single round. Preferably, I think the limit should be 20, maybe 30 minutes. Now, I don't know exactly how they would do the stop. Personally, what I would like to see is if they could track how much damage each side did, and if time runs out, whichever side did the most damage wins. But you wouldn't get as much allegiance as you would if, say, you actually fully beat them. But the person that loses would get a little bit more allegiance than they normally would if they had lost and their ship sunk. So it'd be kind of more of a balanced reward, because it's more of a tie rather than someone win or lose. That's the way I would like to see it, because if I knew that I could go in and at max this would only take 20 minutes, or maybe at max this would only take 30 minutes, then I could say to myself, oh hey, I have 45 minutes to play Sea of Thieves before I have to go do whatever I'm doing that day. I can do some PvP battle and work on my allegiance and that kind of stuff. that would be amazing, because right now it's just not like that, and I feel like I haven't really got to engage with the PvP stuff, just because every time I do, it's either on one of the extremes. It's either a really quick battle where it ends in like 5 to 10 minutes, or it's an extremely long battle where it goes like an hour and a half, 2 hours or something like that, and it's just not enjoyable. So that covers pretty much all the gameplay stuff that was added for Season 8. Honestly, like, it seems like there wasn't much, but in terms of like the amount of work that would need to be put in for like this kind of system and just all the cosmetics and stuff that was tied to the PvP system, I think they did a really great job with everything. Despite all my previous comments I just said, I really do think the PvP system is great, and it does fill the void a bit that was left from the arena being removed. I do think there still is a place for the arena, and you could have had both, because I think while the PvP on-demand battles are fun, I do miss being able to like fight over a chest and working with my teammate to go against a bunch of crews rather than these one-on-one battles. That's just my thought. I think they should bring back the arena one day. I don't think they will, but I can hold out hope. Looking at the season pass, and then we'll look at the plunder pass, I think the season pass this season was pretty decent. I'm not the biggest fan of all the cosmetics, but I do really like that we got Flameheart's hat and his sword, as well as some of his other cosmetics, but the hat and the sword I thought were really cool. And then the clothing and other stuff that we got in the season pass was pretty nice as well. Looking at the plunder pass I think did pretty good this season. Obviously, I was happy that they did the extra ancient coins compared to other seasons, where for this season, if you got it, you got your full ancient coins returned or whatever to you. So that was good. Obviously, I don't think they're going to do it for season 9, so that's a bit disappointing. But looking at the cosmetics that we got in the plunder pass, I thought this season was really good actually. I'm not too big of a fan of the sales we got, but I think the wheel, the figurehead, the capstan especially. The capstan's probably my favorite of all the ship cosmetics that we got for the plunder pass. I just think that's really cool with the knife on the note attached to it, and then like you have the little coins and stuff on it. I thought that all that came out really well. I think the costume we got for this plunder pass is a bit mid. While I think for its benefit, all the versions look good. So like a lot of times like the base version of the costumes aren't that interesting, but I think this one works because it's just kind of a nice jacket and stuff, so that looks good. What I'm a bit disappointed by is the final version of the costume, because it looks almost identical to the second version of the costume, but mainly the only difference is like a different color mask, which you barely see. I think it would have been nice if they did a little bit more with this costume and just made it a little bit more interesting. In general, I think it's a good plunder pass. I mean, it was worth the buy since you'd get those ancient coins back anyways, but in general, I think they could have done more with this plunder pass as they could have done with every other season. So I'm not going to harp on that too much because everyone's heard my opinions on the plunder pass so far and how they could do it better. We had some little events going on throughout Season 8, like the Community Day event that we had, and then the recent anniversary, I can't remember what the name is, like a Marauders thing event that we had. Those are all fine and stuff, but I think the most memorable event for this season to me is during the Christmas time when we had the orb event again. So they did it for the first time last year, and then they brought it back this year around Christmas time. And I just really enjoyed the event this year. I felt like they did a lot of effort with the cinematic trailers and all that kind of stuff. So really enjoyed that. I thought it was really cool just seeing all those different views and stuff. One thing I didn't talk about though is adventures. So the past several seasons we've had adventures, and this season was interesting because at the start of the season we had just come off of a really big adventure where Flameheart came back to the Sea of Thieves. And while I didn't really expect to see anything with Flameheart during Season 8 because it literally just happened, so they need some time to develop that and stuff, I did feel it was a little bit odd that we just saw nothing. I thought there might have been like a little bit of something, like even little like dialogue changes with some of the characters or something, but there was really just nothing. But then we moved on and we had 2 adventures, both featuring around Brigsy. I really did not like the first Brigsy adventure, but the second one I thought was pretty good. But then something weird happened, and basically adventures were gone. Now they're not permanently gone, they're going to be coming back in the future, but it is weird to me that they basically just full out stopped doing the adventures, and we never got what was the conclusion to this arc that we were having with Brigsy. I'm assuming we'll probably get it after the Season 9 stuff dies down, but since we're already halfway through March, I would assume we might not even get it till either the very end of March or maybe even April. I think that's pretty disappointing. I think the adventures really helped keep the game alive and stuff, and I felt like at the end of Season 8, I was just kind of bored of the game. I had already talked about why I didn't do the PvP stuff too much this season, but if we just looked in general at the game, other than the PvP stuff, there wasn't really anything new with the game. There was stuff going on outside of the game, like the Reaper Orb event and things like that. Within the game, it was just kind of same old, same old. I feel like I've talked pretty negative about this season, and I really don't want that impression to come off because I do think this was a pretty good season. I think it's better than the last few seasons that we've had, definitely better than Season 7, and I'd probably say it's better than Season 6, honestly only because Season 6 had the issues with it being delayed for so long, which made that season drag on. But looking to the future, I'm really excited for Season 9 coming up this week. I know it's not going to be that big of an update, and honestly, it's probably not going to be better than Season 8's content in terms of just like what's new, but I do think long term, the additions that we're getting in Season 9 are going to be very impactful for the game, just like how the Season 5 stuff was pretty impactful in terms of like the storage crate transfer and things like that. I hope we continue to see more investment in PvP. I feel like some of the stuff they're doing in Season 9 is going to help bring back PvP, not from the on-demand stuff, but more into like the natural PvP that we were used to in Sea of Thieves, where like you have like tucking and stealing world events and just going and finding people with treasure and that kind of stuff. That's the kind of PvP that I like, and I'm looking forward to getting back into that. But that's all I have to talk about with Season 8. In general, pretty good season. I'd love to hear what y'all think about it in the comments below. But until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye y'all.